Alyssa Nicole Taylor was born on March 10, 1997, in Accomack County, Virginia. At 25, she was a devoted mother of two, known for her vibrant personality and close bond with her family. On September 13, 2022, Alyssa texted her mother saying she would be traveling for a couple of days in a tractor trailer with her friend, 51-year-old Daniel Eugene McNeil, who went by Danny, something she had done before. Tragically, after leaving that day, her family would never hear from her again. In the early hours of September 14, 2022, tragedy struck. At 2:15 a.m., Danny's tractor trailer crashed into the North Carolina 86 bridge near Hillsborough, North Carolina. The truck overturned and erupted into flames, killing Danny and his dog. However, Alyssa was nowhere to be found. Authorities combed through the wreckage but stated they did not believe Alyssa had been in the truck at the time of the crash. They recovered some of her belongings, including one of her shoes and a pink blanket that her family said she carried everywhere. A toxicology report revealed that Danny's blood alcohol level was 0.32%, 4 times the legal limit, enough to cause severe impairment or even unconsciousness. On September 20, 2022, Alyssa's family reported her missing after no contact from her and no leads from authorities. Desperate for answers, they traveled to the crash site and conducted their own research. There, they discovered an earring and a flip-flop that they were certain belonged to Alyssa. Despite their efforts, no further evidence was found. The family also tracked Alyssa's cell phone, which had last pinged near Henderson, North Carolina, about 50 miles from the crash site. Authorities suggested that if Alyssa had been at the crash site, her remains might have been inadvertently transported to a landfill with debris from the accident. Considering the fire reached temperatures of 3,000 degrees, which, according to Google, is enough to turn an entire body to ash, this theory is very plausible. However, investigators have declined to search the landfill, citing a lack of resources. This left Alyssa's family with haunting questions. Did something more sinister happen to Alyssa, or was she killed in the crash, with her remains lost amidst the wreckage and debris? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Alyssa had green eyes and brown hair, stood 5 feet 5 inches tall, and weighed 200 pounds. She was last heard from on September 13, 2022, and as of December 2024, her case remains unsolved. April Dawn Greene was born on December 4, 1983, in Warsaw, Indiana, to parents Richard and Kathy. She grew up in North Manchester, Indiana, and attended Manchester High School. April was known for her bright personality and strong connections with family and friends. By the age of 38, she was living in Liberty Mills, Indiana, and working at McDonald's. She found immense joy in spending time with her 3 children and was deeply committed to providing them with a loving and nurturing home. Her passion for cooking, particularly Mexican cuisine, was well known among those close to her. In addition, she enjoyed various arts and crafts, showcasing her creativity and attention to detail. She was also known for her generosity and kind spirit, which left a lasting impression on everyone she met. Tragically, on May 30, 2022, April's body was discovered in the Eel River near Liberty Mills, Indiana. Authorities ruled her death a homicide, though the exact cause of death has not been publicly disclosed. Unfortunately, there is little information in this case. April was found murdered on May 30, 2022, and as of December 2024, this case remains unsolved. Brenda Kay Green was born to Larry and Betty on November 7, 1972. At age 15, she was a bright and lively teenager living in Brookwood, Alabama. She had a warm and engaging personality that drew people to her, and she was well liked by her peers and others in the community. Sadly, in the summer of 1988, she would strangely go missing. On the evening of July 2nd, Brenda left her home with a male acquaintance named Anthony Wayne Dickey and told her family she planned to visit friends in Abernant, a small community about 10 miles away. Her boyfriend was supposed to pick her up later, but according to her mother, he never arrived. At 9:30 p.m., she called her mother, assuring her she would be home later that night. Tragically, that was the last time anyone ever heard from her. When she failed to show back up the following day, her mother reported her missing. Authorities immediately treated Brenda's disappearance as suspicious. They interviewed everyone connected to her, including Wayne, the last person known to have seen her. Wayne claimed he dropped Brenda off at a home across from Hosmer's Grocery on Highway 216, where she was supposed to meet some friends. However, no one was home when she arrived, so she decided to wait on the doorstep. That was the last time Wayne claimed he saw her. While his story seems suspicious, investigators claim he was ruled out as a suspect. The weather that night was mild, with clear skies and temperatures in the 70s, making it unlikely that she succumbed to exposure if she attempted to walk home. Brenda's disappearance has led to speculation that she may have encountered a predator while waiting for her friends or attempting to return home. The possibility that her call to her mother was coerced has also been suggested. There's also a question of who the friends were that she intended to meet, and did they ever arrive at the home where she was waiting? Brenda stood 5 foot 2 inches tall and weighed 106 pounds. She had brown hair that may have been dyed blonde and brown eyes. She also had a distinctive scar on her left eyebrow. On the night of her disappearance, she was wearing a white tank top, blue jeans signed with marker, and white tennis shoes. She disappeared on July 2, 1988, and as of December 2024, she has never been found, and this case remains unsolved. Jerry Lee Armstrong was born on August 1, 1960. At the age of 17, he was a senior at Hernando High School in Hernando, Mississippi. A talented athlete and the quarterback of the school's football team, Jerry was admired by many of his peers, but not everyone in the community was happy about his role on the team. On December 23, 1977, Jerry borrowed his brother's car, a white 1973 Pontiac Le Mans with red and black racing stripes, to attend the high school Christmas dance at the National Guard Armory. After the dance ended, Jerry dropped his girlfriend off at her home. After that, he was never heard from again. His curfew was midnight, but he never showed up. Later that day, when there was still no sign of him, his parents reported him missing. Despite exhaustive searches, neither Jerry nor the Pontiac Le Mans was ever found. One theory suggests that Jerry may have been targeted by the local Ku Klux Klan in a tragic case of mistaken identity. At the time, his brother James was dating a Caucasian woman, a relationship that may have sparked outrage in the community. Since Jerry was driving James's car that night, some believe that members of the Klan thought he was actually James. Jerry's other brother, Johnny, believes the Klan murdered him near Craft Road and buried his remains in a landfill. Allegedly, investigators weren't very keen on solving the case, and important documents had gone missing from Jerry's police file. At one point, Johnny received a menacing phone call from an anonymous individual who threatened to kill him if he didn't stop calling investigators about his brother's case. At that point, the family involved the FBI, but it didn't help solve the case. Then, in 1984, Jerry's brother James died from a gunshot wound to the chest, which the medical examiner ruled was self-inflicted. His family still disputes this ruling. Sadly, Jerry's mother passed away in 1987 at the age of 49 without ever finding her son. On the night he disappeared, Jerry was wearing a dark green suit, a yellow shirt, a green tie, and black shoes. The car he was driving, with Mississippi license plate DAY 485, remains missing as well. Jerry went missing on December 23, 1977, and as of December 2024, he has never been found, and this case remains unsolved. Kimberly Sue Doss was born on February 12, 1966, in Texas. She previously lived in Louisiana and other parts of the South for 5 years on and off. Kimberly was just 14 years old when she vanished under mysterious circumstances on March 20, 1980. At the time of her disappearance, Kimberly was living in Davenport, Iowa, after recently returning from Houston, Texas. She had initially moved to Houston with her mother, Linda Robertson, but after a few months, she missed her friends and boyfriend in Iowa and decided to return. Although she planned to live with her father, Larry Doss, she ultimately stayed with her 16-year-old boyfriend, Dallas Murphy, and his family, as her father was not actively involved in her life at the time. The families were acquainted, and it seemed like a safe arrangement since Dallas still lived at home with his parents. Those who knew Kimberly described her as a free-spirited teenager. She was kind, social, and outgoing, though also stubborn, as many teenagers are. She maintained regular contact with her mother, who lived in Texas, and always kept in touch with those she loved. On March 20th, 1980, Kimberly called her mother to share that she had purchased a bus ticket and planned to return to Texas. She and Dallas had argued, prompting her to leave his house. Kimberly reportedly got into a green car driven by Cecil Williams, a local teenager and acquaintance. Also in the car was another teenager named Frank Overbeck. Frank stated he was dropped off afterward and last saw Kimberly being driven away by Cecil. Cecil later claimed that he and Kimberly hung out and drank whiskey before she left his house on foot without a coat. Her purse and belongings were left at her boyfriend's house, which was uncharacteristic of her. This was the last time Kimberly was seen or heard from. Her mother began a desperate search for her daughter. However, when Linda attempted to file a missing persons report in Houston, police told her they could not act since Kimberly had disappeared in another state. Similarly, authorities in Davenport refused to accept the report because Linda lived in Texas. This jurisdictional limbo left Linda and her family to search on their own for over 2 years. During this time, Linda sent letters to law enforcement agencies across the country, pleading for help. Finally, on September 1, 1982, Linda succeeded in filing a missing persons report with the Davenport Police Department. However, Kimberly's missing person report was recorded with the incorrect date of 1982 instead of 1980. Police also classified Kimberly as a runaway, which severely hindered the investigation. Despite Linda's relentless efforts, Kimberly's case remained plagued by misinformation and mismanagement. At one point, a witness claimed Kimberly had planned to visit someone named Debbie, but they've never found evidence to confirm this. The only verified individuals last seen with Kimberly were Cecil Williams and Frank Overbeck. In 1983, a charitable organization, Thursday's Child, claimed Kimberly had been arrested for prostitution in California under the name Kimberly Kathleen Gardner. This claim stalled the investigation until 1991 when the woman in question was identified as Shannon Jones, who had been using Kimberly Kathleen Gardner as an alias. Despite this discovery, law enforcement did not immediately correct the record, leading to Kimberly's name being removed from the National Crime Information Center multiple times over the years. It wasn't until 2018 that a DNA test definitively proved Shannon Jones was not Kimberly Sue Doss. Even so, many online missing persons databases still incorrectly associate Kimberly with the alias Kimberly Kathleen Gardner and the alternate birth date of September 17, 1963. Further complicating the case, Kimberly was erroneously identified as a murder victim found in Sugar Land, Texas in 1989. This victim was later identified as Sharon Ann Cole, but not before Kimberly's name was once again removed from NCIC. Each misidentification led to delays and confusion, further hampering efforts to locate Kimberly. In June 2024, after decades of advocacy by her family, a new detective was assigned to Kimberly's case. For the first time, Kimberly is being treated as a missing 14-year-old child rather than a runaway. Decades of misinformation have been cleared, and it has been confirmed that Kimberly's last known communication was on March 20, 1980. Reports of her being seen outside Davenport after that date have been thoroughly investigated and debunked. Kimberly's family has tirelessly worked to keep her memory alive and correct the record. Her mother, Linda Robertson, passed away in 2008 without knowing what happened to her daughter. Kimberly stood 5 feet 2 inches tall with brown hair, brown eyes, and a gap between her 2 front teeth. Adding to the complexity of Kimberly's case was another teenager named Kimberly Rae Doss, who went missing from Florida just months before Kimberly Sue Doss. Kim Rae Doss was born on September 11, 1962, and raised in Tampa, Florida. She disappeared on May 29, 1979, at the age of 16. Her family believed she was abducted by members of a motorcycle gang as retribution against her uncle. While the two cases are unrelated, the similarities in their names and timelines have caused confusion over the years. As of January 2025, both Kimberly Sue Doss and Kimberly Ray Doss remain missing, and their cases remain unsolved.